I I mentioned in our previous sessions as well uh, some important aspects of testing. I think testing is everywhere in car industry, aviation, in military, everywhere. We see there is a testing. It's simple for car industry, the crash test, right? Or other kind of all the sensor testing, maneuver testing, speed testing. Those are the testing procedures that make sure the car is ready for hitting the road, or making sure the car is ready to deliver for the customers. Okay, without that testing, um, even everything is like running well from the coding side, from the computer side. Uh, we don't know how well that specific car performs during, let's say, cold weather, during the hot weather, warm weather, whether rainy days, and so on, or windy days. So we have to test the, that specific car against various types of scenarios. So making sure it's 100% ready before shipping it. Okay, the same in IT products or applications. We have to test it against different scenarios. So let's say, what happens if I keep clicking the search button 100 times or 1,000 times? It may be overwhelms my database because I keep pressing search button for 100 times, 1,000 times, and then it means like I am requesting what 100 API or HTTP requests at the same time, which really skyrockets my database demand, especially if I'm using some cloud services and so on, so on. So to prevent them, what I do is like I put some logic. So if the user is clicking like 3 times, uh, okay, I can return the result. But after 3 times, I would give some delay for maybe 30 seconds for the next news search. Okay, so those kind of scenarios we have to test from our side as well by writing code. So what happens if I make three searches at the same time or 5 searches at the same time? And when we make sure they are working properly, and the testers, the QA engineers, the testers, they come and then start testing the UI's functionality just by clicking 3 times, 5 times, and so on, so on. But as a developer, we also have to write our code that makes sure the API is, working properly when we hit 3 times or 5 times, and so on. For example, the password um, checking, right? Let's say if our system requires the password should contain at least one character, um, who's going to test it? As a developer, we have to write a unit test that checks if the input form contains a special character or just a character. Okay. But a QA engineer also comes in and then puts some characters or leaves character part empty and then tests it. So that's from their perspective how to test it. But from our perspective, we have to write testing by writing codes. So if whether the input form contains character or not, or so on, so on. So this way we implement a unit test for every single functionality. Okay. So let's say you have a string slicer. Okay, string slicer. And as a developer, we have to write a unit test that for any string, for more than 5 characters, it just slices the first 3 characters. Okay, how do we test it? So we will put different strings, 10 character, 20 character, and so on. And then we expect some results. As long as those expectations are met, it means the unit tests are working. Okay. So this is how unit test is actually uh, invented and then implemented by the developers. But the main benefit of unit test is, so say that you have an application and that application contains hundreds of different components and folders, okay? And all the components are almost interconnected with each other. So say that you have a one button in one component that may make change in another component. So if you don't write a unit test, that button still works, but you don't know, maybe it's gonna fail, it's gonna make a big issues in the future in another component. Okay, without unit test, we may not be able to predict those kind of issues. So with unit test, we prevent, we avoid from those kind of potential bugs. Okay, so by writing unit tests for every component, we make sure the button doesn't affect other pages, or the button click shouldn't affect other features. So that's why the main benefit of you writing unit tests is ensuring the high quality code that doesn't conflict with other components when there is a change. The, the one engineer said that from Google, without unit tests, Google wouldn't be at this point. So everything, because of, based on unit tests, that's why Google has one of the highest quality of code. Okay. So let's say if I don't have unit test for that button, and then vector comes in, makes change in another component, and then I go to make a change in another component. So we don't know, as the application grows, we don't know the scale of impact having each other, those hundreds of components. We don't know the scale of impact. It becomes very difficult to keep track the impacts of components that making to each other. So the only way we can keep track and make sure is by running unit testing. Okay, so if we have unit tests for every component, it means that it's not gonna fail when even the button is clicked. It's not gonna fail in another component as well. Okay, for these goals, the unit test is something mandatory. That's kind of make sense, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes. So the payment system has its own unit test, and check-in or check-in system also has its own unit test. But check-in may affect payment for some reason because it's the same application still. Okay. So if I write unit test for payment system, and then if I write you check unit test for the check-in system, even if they are connected with each other, as long as unit test doesn't fail, it means in the future they're gonna work properly. Okay. If I don't have a unit test, I won't be able to detect the potential bug. But with unit test, when I write unit test for the payment, when I write the unit test for check-in, it's gonna tell me, hey, you implemented this code and then you are trying to test this one, but it's gonna fail because you have other logic here in checking system and then in the payment system. That's why you have to fix your unit test, or you have to fix your the algorithm or coding, and it prevents the failure of the application in the future. Okay, but that unit test is not gonna be deployed to the production, so we don't see unit test code, we don't see anywhere else. It's just for software engineers to ensure the code is working in high quality. Okay, so let's go to this. React, and then if you open the source, you see that app.test.js file always there. Um, so it's just a simple example for testing. The app is app has unit test saying that I am checking if there is a learn React text content in my application in my app component. Okay, it's basically rendering app and then making sure learn React it is in the document. Okay, if it's not in the document, so it's gonna say me, hey, your learn React doesn't exist, but you are still expecting text learn React. Okay, and it says you have to fix your code, making sure that learn React should be there. Okay. Um, so when we need this kind of logic, especially let's say when you click a button and if the dialog or if a model pop should be popped up and you expect model should be in the document, right? And if your model is not working, the unit test fails, saying that your model is not in the document. And then you go back to your code and then check that, oh, okay, my model is actually not working. But in my unit test, I'm asking model should be in the document, which is not in the document and so on. Okay. So we unit test is always to make sure something is happening, to make sure something is in the document, to make sure that output is this way, and so on, so on. Full of like, confirmations, full of assurance. So let's go with very simple JavaScript file, like, add two numbers, and then every file goes with their own unit test. So add to.test.js. Okay, add to.test.js. The moment you run like npm run test, it's gonna pick up all these test files and then runs them. Okay, so here we have package.json. So test. The moment we put here npm run test, or npm test run, uh, so it's gonna only render these files that contains test keyword. Okay. Sometimes in real project you also see like spec.js. Okay, add to spec.js or add to test.js. Kind of similar. Okay. So now we have add to, let's say, the,
To have separate folder for the test files.
yeah, definitely. So since you have a lot of components like assets, components, common, and so on, you will have different right folders, right? And then inside that folders, you have different files, and then every file will have their own test. So basically, you can do like this. Yeah, if it's common, then you put here add move, and then you also put inside common another folder like this tests, and inside tests you're gonna have this. Okay, add test, and in common you may have, let's say, binary search dot js, and then in test you will have the test file for that binary as well, binary search dot test dot js. Okay, so the in common you may have another file that could be, let's say, counter.js, and in test files you will add counter.test.js. So the counter unit test is for counter component, binary search is for binary, add to is for add to JavaScript file. Okay, that's how you separate, and this is common. You're gonna see also in the teamworks. So we can start with add to quickly. So let's say this is a very simple JavaScript function, you know, add two, takes two numbers, A, B, and then it just returns A plus B, okay? A plus B. Um, so I can say that this one is for function add2, and then so this one should return me all the time the sum of two numbers. So how would I test it if it's returning properly? How would I test? Of course, visually when we run, and then when we give two numbers like 10, 20, it's gonna give us 30, right? Visually. But from software perspective, we also have our unit test that is making sure this add2 is accepting some numbers and then matching with expected results. So what we do is we will import it simply, import add2, okay? And so we have we used to have unit test libraries for JavaScript. It's called uh, just unit testing, and it has a huge documentation. So for docs, you can go and then start with well, they also have this simple sum example. So matchers. So the matchers is something that that is a keyword. That's a keyword, okay? That makes our code match with the expected result. So let's say if I'm expecting 2 plus 2 to be 4, I'm going to use this matcher, which is to be, okay? To be is a matcher. And then to equal is also matcher. Not to be is another matcher. So we have a lot of matchers like to be null, to be undefined, to be defined, to be truthy, to be falsy, not to be truthy, to be defined, and so on, so on. These are the matchers. And we have other things as well, like for example, just functions. To have length, this is also a matcher, guys. They have to be, okay? And for example, when you import the data and then you expect to have length of 2, so you're going to use this matcher. So these matchers are really important because then you have to use properly. If you are expecting this 2 plus 2 to be 4, you cannot write here not to be 4. Okay, you cannot write. So here, let's use one matcher. Also we have these functions, either using test, okay, or we can use it or test. Is a function that takes two parameters, okay. So test, come on, okay, that takes two parameters. One is the description. It's up to you, whatever the description you want. For example, it tests if two numbers make correct sum, okay? And the second parameter is a function that runs your matcher, okay? So we use here an expect what? Expect what? We're gonna call this add2 and then provide him two numbers, let's say 20, 10 and 20. And then over here, we want them to be what? 50, right? Or not? We want them to be 30, okay? So when we call this function, and then if it generates 30, it means this one is working correctly, okay? So let's try to run this. And what we do is npm run test. So it's gonna pick up all the test files. So that's why I just wanna remove these. I don't want them to be picked up also. Let's remove them since they are empty, okay? And we can also remove this app test.js. So we will come back to that point again later. Or let me just comment it out. So npm run test. So it starts only at 2.test.js. Yeah. It says one passed. One failed is that app test because it's commented out. However, we have one passed, which is at test. The exit has forced race slightly because test leaking due to improper teardown. Try running the okay, so expect at 2. Yes, I'm just at 2 running to be trying to make it 30. It's not running properly. So what was the issue?
It says we have 2 tests, but
No, it's actually correct.
why does it say it's 1 failed and 1 passed? 2
Um,
total.
yeah, 2 total means how many test files we have now? We have 2 files, right? App test and then add 2 tests. Those are the 2 total.
Oh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
why is it
Yeah, one of
first
them
is
is
failed?
failing. We can go and then check it. So app.test.js. Yeah, that one is because we commented out. Let me just remove it completely. Okay, so let's run again. So because we have test file but nothing inside, that's kind of failing. Now it's working.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It tests if 2 numbers make correct sum. And 1 passed, we have only 1 file. And so that's why total is 1. What if we put here 50? So 10 plus 20 is supposed to be 30, but we are expecting it to be 50, and it says, sorry, it says expected 50, but it should be 30. So your unit test is failing. Okay, that means like it should be 30. That's what we are expecting. Okay, so we can continue testing different scenarios. It tests if 2 numbers make correct sum, and then it tests if you know um uh returns like incorrect sum. So we can say here not to be 300, right? So this is still a correct test case. Why? 10 plus 20 is not 300. Okay, or we can also write here down a lot of things not to be hello. So 10 plus 20 definitely not hello. We can say it's not negative 10. Okay, so 10 plus 20 is not negative 10. So this way we can test against different scenarios and making sure this code is running properly. Okay. Yep, all of them are passing. You see, we have one file, one passed one, but we have two unit tests now. One test, another test. That's why it says we have 2 total. Okay, so if we add one more unit test here, it tests like if one of them is missing. So what we do is say that if you provide only one number, what's gonna happen? It makes like 10 plus undefined, right? What would be 10 plus undefined? It's something weird, right? So if let's just put here 10 and then still make it not to be 300 because 10 plus undefined is not 300 definitely. And this way we will have another unit test. Yeah, if one of them is missing, so not to be. So how do you make sure if one of them is missing? Because this code is not like working high quality, right? Let's say a user comes in and then just puts one number and then your application still works. If user if user puts one number and your web application is still running, but you want to show some other message, right? If user puts only one number. So how you can do is like if if A and B, then return. Okay. Otherwise, what you can say is return, let's say, one of the numbers, let's say, is missing. Okay. So this way you can prevent users from missing one of the input values. So let's run now. What it's gonna say, let's say, to be, if I put here just 10, it's gonna return me no. When you have only one number, it returns this text. Okay, let's run. So it's not gonna be 10. Okay, it says you're expecting 10. No, but when you put one number, it should return this one. One of the numbers is missing. It should be this one. Okay. So what we are achieving doing this, we're achieving to test our function from different scenarios, whether it runs properly or not. So when we run multiple scenarios, that's enough. Okay. But the bigger scale of effect for this unit test will be visible when you have a huge application, and then, as I mentioned, all the application components are interacting with each other. If your whole unit test is running properly, it means your application is running in a more secure way, avoiding all the potential bugs. Okay, but this is how we implement unit tests. However, the effect of the scale will be visible when there is a bigger picture or bigger application.
But how to check the types?
What do you mean type?
It should return like integer, not a string.
Yeah, definitely. You can come here another, scenario.
No, I mean how to test it. Like expected the integer, not other stuff.
Yes, we can test it. We can test it. So like expect. So it's the unit test is going to be based on only whatever you wrote in your main function. So let's say if you are trying to test
Mm-hmm.
if this function returns array,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you won't be able to test it because your function doesn't relate with the array.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna test based on only whatever you have in your code. Okay.
Yeah, but I want to test like expected add 2, 10, 20, and to be integer returned by the integer, not the string. Like
Return to be so yeah, we can do like so let's say when we
doing
put
type of
I got it.
integer,
Yes,
maybe something.
That's a matcher. Okay, you were asking for matcher.
Oh,
Yeah, we can check that matcher again. We have all the matchers here. So truthiness like to be falsy,
truthness,
truthness, yeah, to be falsy, or so on, so on. Let's see,
strings.
string, yeah, to match with this text, it should match with this text, and then to contain this one, to throw error. Let's see, common matchers, to equal, to be defined, to be falsy, to be equal, to be close to match. Yeah, you see team, the string team, not to match with I, so it shouldn't be I. Create stuff. It should contain stop. Okay, should contain
Oh,
stop. Yeah.
so the team should not
Should
contain I.
yeah, not to contain I. It means
Okay.
yes. Yeah. That's how we can continue with matchers, but we will work with the more matchers. Those matchers are really important.
Okay.
So to be now we can only put this one to make this one running. To be this one, then it's gonna run this code again. Okay. Cool. Let's have a break and then we will go with more examples, okay?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Was that the type of target to be number? Expect type of target. Yeah, it could be used to be number type of, yep. Especially in React, we can test, let's say, if the content is a string or component or something like that. So those are matchers. So these matchers should be carefully picked up to make your test scenarios work correctly. Okay. This, let's say, when you are testing against different scenarios, and if your test fails, what does that mean? It means you have to improve your code, especially for this one. Like when we put one parameter, and we should make our users know that, hey, you can't make you can't put only one number. It should be at least two numbers. So that way our code is improved now. What if, like, if the input is a string, both of them are string, if a user comes in and then puts some strings, one of them is hello and then the other one is hi, and then what are we expecting here? Is it going to be what, like number or what? In this case, what we can do is, if both of them are okay, if a or we can say or b, okay, if type of a equal to string, or type of b is also string, at least if one of them is string, our code should return please enter only numbers. Okay, please enter only numbers. And let's say you put here undefined, and it's going to return it fails, right? Because when at least one of them is string, we are expecting this text to be returned. So let's run it. Yeah, it's failing because the expected is hello, hi. Okay, because of this one, right? Because of this one. If both of them is number, then we have to add only in that case. Okay. If both of them is numbers, so type of A is number, and type of B is number. Only when both of them are number, we will add. Otherwise, if at least one of them is string, we will show this message. Please enter only numbers. Yeah. Yeah. Why all of them are failed?
Yeah, I think numbers should be in the code.
Should be
Oh,
specific.
sorry. Yeah, because it's not a variable. Exactly. Type of, yep.
Or can you just make the second if, like, if type of A and type of B not equal to number?
Yeah, definitely. In that case, we will like capture more broader data types, right? Exactly, yeah. So please don't enter only numbers. So why did we come up to this point? The goal of this function is just to, like this, at 2 and then a b and then return a plus b. So this one also is just adding two numbers, and this one also is adding just two numbers. But with the help of like unit tests, while we are testing against different scenarios, we came out that we have to make our code really, really secure so that it's not gonna fail when someone puts string, when someone puts undefined, when someone just misses number, we still have our code running. But if we just be limited with this one function add2 and then AB return AB, when someone comes and adds undefined and then just leaves the other parameter empty, our function somehow crashes, right? Or starts returning weird stuff. As a result, our application may end up showing some unexpected turbulences. Okay, so that's why, like, with the help of unit tests while testing, we make our function to perform in a high quality against different scenarios. And that's why now this function is way, secure and then against potential bugs. So yeah, we will say that as long as this is not number, as long as this is not number, okay. So we can capture, say that, hey, you have to put numbers, okay. So to be whatever we put here. Yes, hello, hi, and then please enter on the numbers. And this way our code is improved in a much better shape. Cool. What is missing? One of the numbers is missing. Which one is? So, okay, here we have another issue. Like if one of them is, if this one is number or this one is not number, enter on the numbers. So this is not number, right? If type of A is not number. If type of B is not number, please enter only one. Why it's not working? Did I save it? I think yes. Let's run again. So please enter one of the numbers is. Oh, okay. Here is the issue. Test if one of them is. All right. Yeah. So when we put only one number, when we put only one number, it means A is not number. Maybe A is number, but B is not defined. B is undefined. That's why it's still expecting this one. However, it should be please enter only numbers, right? So this way, what we can do is we can remove this last statement, which is return, and then we don't need this test anymore because this one already captures everything. Okay. Even one of them is missing, even if the parameter is missing, guys. Even if the parameter is missing, it still captures and it still works well. Okay. Even though we have only one parameter or multiple parameters, it still works. So let me put it back and then I'll just copy paste this one. This one is already detecting everything. Cool. See? So let's write another unit test. For example, we can directly write, another function. For example, function, let's export it. Export function capitalize. So it takes string and then just capitalizes it. Okay, return string to uppercase. Okay, the only goal of this function is to capitalize. So what we can do is we just go and then import it right here, capitalize from the same function, and we can go and then write here another test case scenario. Tests if strings are let's say capitalized, and the next parameter is a function that runs our assertion, expect, which is capitalized, and we provide here, let's say, hello, and then expecting to be uppercase hello. Okay. So this is another unit test for capitalize. Oh, if strings are capitalized. And we can also write another scenario saying that not to be, let's say, lowercase h. And of course, the hello should be all uppercase characters. Not only some of them, but all of them. So that one is also working. So except to be, what we can find out common matchers. We can use, I think, to equal. Let's try to use this to equal as well. Instead of this one, let's try to use to equal. It should work. Yeah, it is also working. It is another matcher to equal. What else? Yeah, we can also put like let me put here like this, to be truthy. Okay, what does a truthy mean? The answer is something, right? Some answer is string, and which is truthy. So you can put truthy. So we have some sort of answer. Okay, this is if strings are capitalized or not capitalized. Let's say are truthy. Okay, that's another way of testing using the matcher, because when you provide hello, you definitely get some sort of tangible answer, which is truthy. Okay, cool. Let's go and then write here a unit test for binary search. But first we have to implement the binary search. So binary search, we know it, right? So basically a function binary search, and then so we have ordered array of numbers, right? And then we have two pointers from right and left, okay? And then we have the pivot point. If the target is greater than pivot point or less than pivot point, you basically shift the pointers, right? We have a knowledge of how binary search works, right? Do we?
No, I'm gonna Google it. I don't remember.
So we can implement it really quickly. Let left. I'll start from the 0 index, and then left, right. Is going to be, so it takes an array. Okay, quickly array, and it will be array dot length -1. Okay, so as long as these pointers are not greater than each other, so left is less than or equal to right, we keep looking for the middle one. So left middle is simply left plus right divided by 2. But if it's an even number, we can take the floor, math floor. Okay, if it's an even number. Because sorry, if it's an odd number, 7, and the middle would be either 4 or 5 or 3 or 4. So 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So let's get just 3. Okay, so what I do is, if array mid, if that number is my target, so I need target here as well, target, then return mid, which is the location of my searching item. If array mid is greater than target, it means my target is on my left side. Okay, my target is on my left side, what I do is I will shift my right pointer towards middle. So my right becomes mid -1, right? And if array middle is less than my target, what does it mean? My target is somewhere else on the right side, so I have to shift my left pointer towards middle. So left becomes mid +1. And that's it. So it finds out the location, and otherwise it returns -1, right? Should work. Should work.
Kanybek, line 13, can you check it, please? The left.
Oh yeah, left should be mid +1. Thank you. So this is how binary search should work, and let's export it and then write a separate unit function. Oops, export function binary search, and I'm gonna add my binary search unit test. Binary search dot. So the name doesn't necessarily need to be same. It's up to you. It could be anything. What the important thing is just what you are importing, okay, inside that file. Binary search dot test dot js. And let's import it quickly. Binary search. And so what we are expecting, tests, let's say target index location, and then we have expect. So what we can do is we can give another like variable here as well, let binary, and then call your binary search function, and then provide him an array. Okay, so let's create here an array as well. 10, okay, 12, 15, 30, 45, 65, 88, 99, 101, 19, 158. Let's say this one. And then const target is 101, for example. Okay. And our inputs are array and target. So now I'm expecting this binary, the result to be, let's say the target is something like I'm looking for 1000. So since we don't have 1000 here, the expected output should be what in this case, guys?
Target.
So target is 10, target is 1000, and we don't have 1000 in our array.
Okay. You mean like
-1.
So expected output should be -1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now what we'll do is we're gonna run this code and see if target index is -1 or not. So it started looking for 2 files, you see, add 2 and then binary search. So total we have 2. What does that mean? We have total 2 files and 8 total. What does that mean? From 2 files we have 8
Yeah.
unit tests. All right. We have 8 different scenarios from 2 files, 8 different scenarios. So we have 7 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 here, and that makes 8 total different scenarios, and 2 means 2 total files. Okay, so yeah, that's working. So now if I put here, let's say 12, and then still expect to be -1, it says no, 12 it has the index of 1. So yeah, this way we have it's a different unit test, different locations, and it's expecting, we are trying to expect -1, but I'm getting 1. So it means 12 is located and it has index of 1. Okay. for different. So another good approach is, so let's say that we have two functions are tested here, right? If those two functions are coming from same location, so one of them is capitalized, the other one is at2, it means it's better to split the scenarios into different descriptions. So what I do is I'll take everything, and then we have more like powerful wrapper that's called describe keyword. Okay, tests at2 function, and then I have a callback function here that wraps everything regarding at2. You see, using the describe, and then I have another describe wrapper which summarizes in a more organized way tests capitalize function, and then I have an arrow function here and just wraps the capitalize unit test. Okay, and it doesn't change anything, but it just gives better organization in our unit test. Okay, and you also see sometimes like people are using it keyword. That one still works. It or test, both of them works. It tests if strings are truthy. It tests if strings are capitalized, or so on and so on.
What if one of the tail test fails? Is it gonna write the message in terminal?
Yes. So let's say this one is it, this one is test. If these are capitalized, and then I would just put here to be hello. Let's say that it should be. It shouldn't be hello. You mean this one? It is terminal or what?
Yeah, this message test if strings are capitalized. Oh, it shows
Yeah, this
you.
is just
Just a
the
description.
This is just a description. Yeah,
I thought it's gonna print the message and where
no,
it
it prints.
failed.
It prints. Actually, it prints the where it failed. Like this test if strings are
Yeah.
capitalized. There is the pointer that is
No,
showing.
it's highlighting the code.
Yeah, sometimes it
Okay.
happens that you don't understand why unit test is.
What about describe the test capitalized function?
Describe is a wrapper that is used
Oh,
for more bundled descriptions. So as I mentioned, like two functions
yeah.
are coming from same location, and I don't want to mix all the scenarios under the same hood.
Okay.
So, but I want to wrap them in different descriptions using the describe keyword.
Like just a description.
Yes, and then this is a nice way of
Basically,
writing.
as a comments, no difference.
Yeah. So sometimes it happens that you don't understand why your unit test is failing. So currently we know why it's failing, because it shouldn't be this way, right? Hello. Let me take this one also down below here, so we bundled separately. So sometimes we don't understand why the unit test is failing. The code is running, the unit test is also properly implemented, but unit test still failing. So in that case, another way of debugging is what we can do is we can check here console.log, and then you can check if you are properly receiving a string. Okay, if you are receiving a string, how do you test in unit test? You can console it, right, in browser, but you can also console here in your terminal. Okay, so if you put console here, and then when you run unit test, it's gonna show you, hey, you are receiving this string. Okay, and then just to make sure if that's expected string or not, you're gonna see this console here as well. That's another way of like debugging sometimes. So let's say if you are receiving a data and then trying to map, and unit tests are all like properly implemented, but unit test is failing, and how do you debug it? You can write console, and then you see in your terminal. You see, I'm receiving hello here, hello another time, hello another time, and then running capitalizer each each this hello. So this way you can find out, okay, I'm receiving hello. Okay. Cool. Any questions so far?
Yeah, but usually these unit tests are presented in somewhere in the report, right? Which shows this description from describe and eat test, not in this, and not on the console.
Yeah, but in the console you can track the data what you are receiving. So from here you don't know what yeah, of course, like you are providing hello, but sometimes like, okay, you're providing some props into your component, but
Yeah, no, I'm
you're
not,
yeah, okay, yeah, I got it, but this is different. Let's say you're providing some props into your component, but your component is kind of somehow not receiving that props. How do you know it? You can also just console it and then put here props and then track whether your component is receiving that props. And if you make sure that props is received by the component, then something is really going on from your unit test side. That's why it's failing. That's another way of just debugging. Okay. Okay. To be truthy, to be this one, capitalize. So we have binary search. So for example, another really quick binary search. Test target index location, tests. Let's say if target doesn't exist. As I mentioned, I can put something different and then put just here -1 to be, okay, or to equal also. That's another scenario. Again, even if this binary search is working properly, but let's say you want to create an application that runs a binary search. But for that one, you have what? You have this kind of input form, right? People can put some numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, and so on, so on. What if someone comes in and then puts like hello, 1, 2, hi? So you're basically like getting string, number, and then string, and so on, so on. And your application doesn't have a scenario that runs for this kind of issues, right? So you have to, improve your code and also like run a unit test for those kind of scenarios as well. So and this way we ensure the quality of the code. Okay. Otherwise, of course, this binary search is perfectly working. Okay? So yeah, that's the goal of the unit test. As we create more different scenarios, we have to go back to our code and then improve the approaches, improve the methodologies that we use there. That's what it gives us while writing unit test. Okay. Cool. Now we can go and start with React unit test. So this is working actually. Just remove it. Another interesting thing is in W to show more, A to run all tests, F to run only failed tests, quit P to filter, to enter, trigger a test run, let me quit it. So let's say that for add two, we tested only for the first if statement. Okay. We tested a unit test only for the if statement. How do we make sure our second if statement is tested or not? Okay. So sometimes you have a component of, let's say, counter that increments and decrements. And if you write a unit test for only increment, how we get, feedback from the system that we have to write a unit test for decrement as well. How do we get that one? Is by assessing the coverage of our unit test. Currently, this add2 function is covering everything written here. It tests the second if statement, it tests the first statement as well. Okay. So if we don't test the second if statement right here, for example, this one, it means it's not covering. Okay. So therefore, the developers are required to write a unit test of at least like 85% of coverage. Okay. At least 85, 90% of coverage of the function. Now this one is 100% covered, but how do we know if it's 100% covered? Yes, by visually we can see that we wrote a unit test for the second if statement as well. But what if we have a lot of like conditionals and we somehow missed a couple of conditionals, and that way it's not covered? Okay, you agree, guys? It's covering everything, right? But how do we know if it's covered or not? So there are tools that runs the coverage and then shows you this function is 100% covered, this function is 100% covered, and this one is 80% covered. So these lines has to be addressed and so on. Kind of forgot what was that code. Unit test coverage percentage in JS. So how do I get that one? I think just how to get total percentage coverage. Should run something, guys. First, it's gonna show like this. So for this particular file, you have 100% coverage, or this many percent, and these lines is still required to be covered, or so on and so on. I think we have to configure it first. That how can I know percentage is covered by my tests? npm install jest. Okay, more. We can find it out. Let's maybe get started with React. But that's and another interesting tool to find out the what percentage of the function is covered by your unit test. It's important to understand. Yeah, go ahead.
It's not the 100%. That means the testing was failed, right? Or what?
No, for the add2, there's no fail. We covered the first statement, which is by providing two numbers. And then we also covered second if statement by providing not numbers. It means both statements are covered in our unit tests.
Yes, it's 100%.
It's 100%, yeah. But sometimes you don't know if your unit test is covering everything that you wrote in your React, let's say, component or React, function. So how do you know? Is by assessing the coverage. The coverage says that.
Okay. I understand.
Yeah. Coverage is kind of like a measurement that shows you, hey, you have a remove function, you have delete function, increment, decrement, sort, search function. You wrote 5 unit tests for them, but you're still missing coverage for the sorting. And then it's gonna show you this component has 5 functions, including sorting, but your unit test doesn't include how to test the sorting. And this way we understand, oh, okay, I missed that sorting. And then this is a requirement by the team members. Hey, your unit test should cover at least 90%. And if you skip sorting, and if it's going below 90%, then you have to implement more unit tests, okay? But if it's already like above 90% and you still don't have coverage for sorting, it's acceptable, okay?
So for example, this add two functions is not 100%, right? Because we didn't check like for the negative numbers. In this case, it's not 100, right?
No, it is 100 because
Right.
doesn't matter negative or positive. It is running this first if conditional. Is it running here? The to be 30 is already running the first conditional. Okay, to be 30, not to be 300. Already running this first conditional. It means it's covered.
Okay.
Okay. The second one, please enter only numbers, is somewhere here. It means it's already covered, the second conditional. Okay. Yeah.
So Kanybek, to to make that coverage. So at least, for example, for first if condition, so we wrote one test. Is it enough?
It's enough. It's enough. Yes. One test is enough.
It means to make sure that coverage is 100%, we need to have at least one
Yes.
test.
Yeah, one test. Yes.
Yeah, but we may have more than one, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah. For example, this one is already covering your capitalized, right? And it doesn't make any sense even if you keep checking for the strings like hello, hi, how are you, good morning. It doesn't make any change because you already wrote coverage that already tests your main scenario. Okay.
so Kanybek, do you so in your company, do you have unit tests? Do you write tests?
It's mandatory. Without it, there's no any component that is left out without, and you're left without unit test. There's no component.
Okay, you will not.
Yeah, yeah. Every project followed with unit test. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So in your company, is it unit test required to be right before writing code or after writing code?
Together. So before you push your code, it should contain unit test. Before you create your pull request.
Yeah, but it's not.
It should contain unit test. Without unit test, your code wouldn't be approved, even if it's 100% working and functionality is perfect. But without unit test, it won't be approved.
Yeah, I've learned that some developers that they usually which use TDD approach, they usually write.
Yeah, that's for like QA engineers, right?
No, not QA only. It's developers. I mean.
I know. Yeah. Test driven and behavior driven, but this is the code-wise unit test is required for both backend, for front end, for almost everyone. So unit test JavaScript, you can start like watching some quick videos, okay, and you can jump into React unit test. React unit test.
So you are using Jest, right?
Yes, Jest.
You have to install it, right? It's coming with JavaScript.
No, in React it already has its library. You see testing library, and it is already like integrated with Jest. You don't need to install anything.
Oh, okay.
You don't need to install, but there are some libraries which like sometimes you cannot find in Jest. So what you do is in that case you can go and then install it. It's called I think, what was that? Mocha unit test. So this is another unit test, so you can install it because it also offers some good testing features people sometimes use when you don't find like matchers, when you don't find the real keyword that you are looking for from Jest or React. Maybe you can find here assertions. You see, it comes like it, describe, It's still kind of same. And then user.save function and so on, so on. Yep. Database find should eventually have land, something like that. Yes. These are the different matches.
More matches, right? Here.
Yeah, different matches, but this like should equal, should have land. We already have ingest, we don't need them.
Yeah, there are one more, that v-test. Have you heard about v-test?
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can now go with
So,
in other things like let's say components, and we can go with counter.js. Right? So we can implement counter, and right down here we can implement our counter.test.js. So for the counter, let's say import use state from React function counter, and let's do a really basic button here. First, click, okay, click, and export default counter. So now, if you want to make sure that this button contains click, we can write unit test here. First importing counter from counter, and we have to also import this just library, okay, the React library, which you can put at the top. Import what was that, import, for example, first in unit test, if you are testing a React component, we have to like imitate as if this is rendered in unit test as well. We have to imitate, okay? How do we do it? We can import this render, okay? Render from testing library React, okay? And now we have test again, tests counter, and then we have here what we do is we will render that counter as a component, not as a function anymore. So this way we are like taking the picture of counter and then rendering inside the unit test, and now we're gonna look whatever we want. Okay, so what are we looking for? A const, for example, button text. Okay, button text. So now once we render, we have different like keywords to find out that button. One of them is screen dot get by role. Okay, get by role. So these are all the like capturers. Screen, from screen, I'm gonna get by what? Get by text. I can also get by text. So because I have a text click in my screen, right? So it's just click. So now what I do is expect this button text that to be visible. Okay, this is another matcher. So we can go and then check it now. React testing library matchers. Okay. Testing library. Let's go. So it has a lot of different matchers. For example, one of them is to be visible, not to be DOM element. What else? Ecosystem. Let me go to what are the other matchers? Check. list of React testing library matchers. Let's see cheat sheet. So find all by text or get by text. And then this is another matcher to have length. Should be 10. These are the like capturers, get by, query by, get all, query. This is for capturing. And these are for finding out the matchers. Like where are the matchers? Queries. So these are the queries, exactly like finding out something or capturing. Find by, get by, query by. These are query, okay. Text match options, and then these are the matchers like starts with. That's one, and then to be in the document is another. To be visible is another. But if you put here, it's gonna list you a lot of options. Dot and to be expect button to be should be listing me, but yeah, let's see, to be in the document. Let's see this one if it's in the document or not. I'm gonna go and then run. It basically runs all the tests, but we can only run this counter test as well. Yeah, it's running all of them, counter, binary, and then what else? Add to. See, so it failed probably for the counter. Let's see, get by text, click screen get by text is not a function. Screen get by text is not a function. Was probably the screen
Text.
get by text. So we have click, right? We have click, yes. This is the text. Failed.
I mean, we just before used like this, but it was inner text. Or here is different.
Different. React has yeah.
Okay.
These are the queries. How we query first. Let me try to make it not button, maybe H1. Maybe this H1 is considered as a text. But we'll see. Yeah, it's not a problem. Okay. I think I just missed. Okay, I'll just leave it as it is. We also have to import this screen. From screen, I'm querying what? I'm querying click, and it should be in the document. It's one, and then another thing is what now? Screen get by text is not a function. So testing library React. That's correct. What else? What else we need? So try to make it just H1 or P. Let's see. Okay. For the button, that is not considered as text. Okay, for the button, that's a text content. But paragraph H1, since they are text, so we can go with get by text. But we can also go with another query, even if it's a button.
But
So
what does it do? Get text. It returns the component.
No, it is for querying. Querying.
What?
It's for capturing. It's for capturing if you have such text in your screen or not. Okay?
Oh, like the in the whole screen, like.
Yes, from whole screen. So I can go with another query, get
It's
by.
scanning all the page, like from
Yes,
bottom.
get by role.
Oh.
What is the role?
Checking the component, right?
Or, yeah, screen or only in this component?
I think component.
From that
Oh.
component, not entire screen, because the entire screen may have a lot of other components as well. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Get by role. I would put here a button, and from that button, to have text. Okay, let me check if it's in the document first. To be in the document, get by role, because we have button here, right? And then it has the role of button, so we can query and then capture, and then make sure if it's in the document. Yes, it's in the document. You see, all of them are passing. React. What is this? Counter is deprecated. So sometimes it says it's warning. It's not an error. Okay. React DOM. It's ACK is deprecated in favor of React. ACK import ACK from React instead of React. Utils. Yeah. Anyway, it's not an error. Okay. So based on the role, I can also pick up. But what happens if I have multiple buttons? Second one is, let's say, save. Okay, save. And then I'm trying to get the get by role button. It's gonna return me error. Why? Because I have multiple buttons. One of them is saved, the other was click. That's still okay. I'm picking up the role. Okay. But get by role, guys, works only for only one item. So look at this here. It's gonna say pound multiple elements with the role button. And now we come back to a real problem here in React unit testing that we have to pay attention all the time. So if you're using get by, it's gonna throw error if you have more than one matchers. It throws error. You see? And if you don't have matcher, it throws error. It works only when you have one matcher. Okay, it works only when you have one
Can you
exact
show
matching.
it? Like it's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
doesn't
So
make
here
sense for
it
me.
is working when we have only one exact. When we have only one button matcher, right? It's working without error. Now get by role button, it works without any issues.
So get by role returns
Works
the
on
button.
get by role works only for one single matcher. Otherwise, it throws error. Look at this. It is returning. It is returning. Get by and then one match and it is returning. Now, what if I have multiple buttons? Two buttons. So if I query get by role button, how many buttons I have? I have two, right? Get by role button, I have two buttons. So this get by returns me error because I have multiple. According to its table, if you have one plus match, it throws error.
So if you have more than one,
no, we have to use
button,
another.
it
We have to use
returns error?
another query. We have to use another query. Look at this. We have other options. Get all by, and then it returns you.
But get a role by returns.
Get all by.
Okay. But what we have in a file?
So now we have two buttons. To fix it, what am I gonna use it? Get all by role. Button
But
now.
What it returns get by role? What does it return? Button component or just the text?
It just queries, and then the rest it's up to you. Whatever. It just returns the HTML component. Button component.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It just returns by HTML button component. Now get all by role button, and then I have multiple buttons. And let me run again. So I'm asking like to be in the document. Since it's an array, I cannot check all of them to be in the document. I can say that, hey, if you have the first one is in the document or second one in the document, because there are two buttons, right? So I can check either first or second or all of them by writing loop as well. So I can also write the loop for for each button text. I'm sorry. Control C for each that button text, and then and now I can put this I inside my expect. So why am I doing this one? Because button text is returning me two array of buttons. Why? Look at this. Get all by is gonna return you array when you have multiple matchers. You understand? When you have multiple matchers, get all by. So we have two buttons and I'm getting array. And now how do I check if those buttons are really in the document? So I have to loop it, or I can go index by index. So what I'm doing is I'm basically looping here button text, which is array, since it's returning me two buttons, array of buttons, and then I'm checking if each of them are inside my document or not. See? So many times unit tests or get confused, like they either use get by, query by, find by. However, the screen or the component may end up containing multiple matchers. That's why the unit test keeps throwing errors. So this table should be pay careful attention in that case. If you have multiple matchers, never ever use get by, find by. So you can use queries like get all, find all, query all. Okay. So there are also differences. So when do you use get by? When do you use query by? So if you use get by, and if you don't have button, it returns error. It throws error, right? It throws error. So let's say I don't have any button, just paragraph. Let's say P P P. Okay, and then I'm trying to get all by roll button. So get all by, and then even if I have multiple matchers, even if I have multiple, so what was yeah, get all by. Look at this button, and it throws error. No match, and it throws error. Okay, so we don't have button anymore. We don't have button anymore, and then I'm trying to get by button. So no match, and it throws error. So let's see, and it says it's gonna say unable to find accessible element with the roll button. Okay, but if I use query all by, even if it don't have match, it doesn't throw error. It just returns empty array. Okay, it just it doesn't throw error, but returns just empty array. So that's another difference that I like get by and then query by. Okay, so if you go and then test it, query all by roll, and let me just comment this out. It's not gonna ruin my testing because it's just returning empty array, and it's not throwing error for query all by. You see? And what I can do is here expect button text to have length 0. Okay, because button text is just returning 0 length array of 0 buttons, since we don't have buttons here, and that's why I'm just checking to have length 0.
Can we use this query all by roll even if you have one?
Yeah, definitely. Even if you have one,
Yeah,
you can still use, but for one match it returns you array of one button. It returns you.
But yeah, we can just verify get the first index.
Exactly. Yeah, and then it's even safer because you may have more items in the feature, so you won't have any error.
Not fail, right?
Yeah. So you see, it's not ruining. But if I use here now, get all by a roll button, since I don't have any buttons, and I'm trying to check if the length is going to be 0. No, it says you don't have array, you don't have zero length, you have error. How can you check it? So that's why get is more like, I would say, more stricter than query. If you are in trouble all the time using get by, try with query, okay? Because get by is really strict. So now, since I'm using get all by roll button, it throws error. And how would I be able to check the length of error? Okay, it's failing now. It says unable to find. But for query all by, even if it's unable to find, it just returns, it's okay, no worries, but empty array. Okay. So these are queries, guys. Which query you have to use, like get, find, or query. This table should be helpful. Now, one thing about find. When do we use find? Find is used in asynchronous operations. So let's say you have a button and you click button and then there's a spinner goes on, right? And then after spinner, you want to test if the data is available, then you can use those kind of scenarios to find by. Okay, so after asynchronous operations, you wanna check if the cars are, if the cargo fleet list of vehicles are available, then you can use find by, because after asynchronous operations, the data becomes available after the spinner or after the loader, right? So that's why like async await supports is by find by or find all by, not by others. That's why it says async await. Yes, async await, yes, only for find all by. Okay. Yes, and get by and query by is used in most cases wherever we don't have async operations. However, get by is really strict. So let's say if we have now, I can go with H1, right? H1, let's say hello. Let's say hi. I have two hello, hi, and I want to write another unit test. Let's say tests headers. So, oops, test headers. So what I do is render the counter really quickly. Counter and const header, and then let me capture from the screen. Query all by role heading. I think the role for H1 is heading. Let's check role of H1 in React testing. Well, how to get the value of H1 testing? I think that should be heading or header. Title, not title. Just heading. Okay, heading. It's heading. It's heading. And now expect header, okay, to have length of 2, right? Because we have 2 headings, and I'm expecting there should be 2. Query all by role by heading. That's another way of querying text. So the one is failing. Oh, for the button, right? It's failing. Okay, let's go on and fix it because we don't have button anymore. Now I'll go on and put it back to button. So since we have 2 buttons, the query all by role does work, and then it's gonna return us length 2. So now what's failing now? Length. Okay, I just save it, and then it didn't have enough time to capture that save. All right, all of them are working. Okay. So we have two heading. Now, what if we don't know the role? I want to just capture based on the text. So hello, hi. Then it's very simple. Just we can go do like this test, tests based on inner text. So let's render. Counter and const, let's say text content. So it's going to be screen dot get by. So here you're gonna see screen dot, and we have a lot of options here. Get all by alt text, all label, all by text, all by alt text, label text, role, test ID, by text, by title. See, so you can go with by text, and then we can put here hello. Okay, so since we have hello here, it's gonna capture only this. But I'm not sure if this one is going to make error again, because this one also contains hello. Okay, and expect text content that to be in the document. Document. Let's see. So this hello get by text. We have hello here. We have hello also here. I think that's gonna make an error. Okay, it didn't get by text because these are like the whole complete different inner text, and this one is also complete inner text. That's why it didn't make us make an issue. Cool. So we have 12 total scenarios from 3 different file locations, written unit tests. Okay. So we can also go down below here, writing more assertions to be visible, which is visible for us. Okay. So sometimes like at the beginning of the application start, let's say spinner is not visible. So you can put here not visible. And then after a short period of time, you can say visible and then back to not visible. Okay, because spinner is visible only when there is an asynchronous call, right? Those kind of scenarios, we can use this visible or not visible, something like that. Questions, guys? Does it make sense?
Yeah, Kanybek, this React library.
Yeah.
So based on jest, right?
Yes.
Okay. So and then React. So when we are using React library, we are testing. So it's only for components, kind of UI stuff.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
We are testing functions, right? This unit test.
So you can also test functions here in the React. Let's say you have here function that increments the counter or change the code or the text, right? But you still test the component, the contents. However, if you would like to test, let's say you have const change text, and you have such kind of function, right? Let's say this kind of function you have. If you want to test if change text exists or not, there is another library that's called the React hooks testing library. React hooks testing. That's different. So where is it? React hooks testing. Let me go. Not actually this one. Testing. Where's the documentation? I think this one. Yeah, this one is the problem. What is the problem? Usage. Okay, basic hooks. So let's say we have increment function, right? And you want to test if that increment exists or if increment is really working, then we have to import this render hook from React hooks, which doesn't exist actually here. We don't have that React hooks. You see? React hooks. So this is another quick library so you can install to test functions whether they are working properly. But we don't usually need them because when you test UI, it already covers your increment decrement functions as well when you test UI. So like when button is clicked, you expect number to be changing from 0 to 1. And if you see 1 in your document, and if document contains number 1, it means it's already covering that increment function. Okay. And if your document sees 0, it's already covering decrement function if the number is changing from 1 to 0. Okay. So most of the time you don't need that React hooks library, but sometimes you really need, you want to test the way the function is really changing the numbers. But as long as you are testing the UI side, you don't need that one.
And for the function, it's just, and that's it.
Yes. So I'm going to show you with more, advanced scenarios. So we can add here, states, clicks, multiple clicks, and then arrays, and so on, even like fetching, async function, and then after using the use effect, and then how to display them on our UI and how to test the unit test. It's not enough just one session. Definitely another whole session we need to cover them, and then there we're gonna see like more advanced testing. Okay, so like async and then button clicks. And then increment, decrement, all of those stuffs, text capturing from input forms, what else like, and so on, okay? I think this is a good start for today. We started with simple JavaScript unit test and then React unit test.
And so Kanybek, this RTL, so React testing library, is used by developers or by QA engineers?
Only developers. QA engineers doesn't even understand what's going on here. But if they are required to write React unit test, I don't know whatever their agreement or contract is. But this is just a developer site. If you're a Java developer, then you have to write the unit test in Java. If you're a C developer, then C. In Python, JavaScript in JavaScript. The QA engineers do like when you finish your job, what do they do is
yeah, they have the Cypress.
Yeah, let's say they go to let's say buy again section, and then they go to pick up let's say this one, and then they try to add to cart, and then go to your cart, and then find out one by one if they are existing or not.
So it depends which kind of QA testing you are doing. Yeah, there are backend. So because I worked as a QA, so there are backend.
Oh, okay, yeah. If some are just API testers, some are just manual testers, and that's
What
it.
about automation testers?
Yeah, automation. That's same.
They use kind of like, I know for the Java they use Selenium, and there is a framework.
So they write
Python
things
too.
like BDD like after this, after that, after this, and so on. And based on that BDD, so you write it. It's more human understandable testing scenarios. And if those human understandable testing scenarios passes, it means test scenarios are working properly. And if one of them fails, it means let's say after sign in, after log out. If one of them fails, it says, okay, it's failing, and so on. And they will give the report. Yeah, since you work with some of you work as a tester, you understand it better. But from developer perspective, every developer should know how to write unit test.
Okay. How we gonna, or in the next class, we're gonna test the actions like
Yeah,
some
so the
click
delayed
events.
clicks. Yes, definitely that's a piece of cake. I can show it in just 2-3 hours. One session is enough. But I'm not sure how we're gonna
You're using the
handle.
jest, the same.
Yeah, same, still
jest?
React. Yeah, still I'm gonna use the still React. But how we're gonna handle the next days, which is July.
4th.
Yeah, because the CTEC follows US holidays.
We're studying anyway.
Uh
CTEC will.
Tomorrow is Friday, right? Tomorrow is Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if everyone agrees, I can do sometime like Tuesday. You have anyway class, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, you have classes. Yeah, I have time Tuesday, Wednesday, in case someone wants to switch with me, or in case someone has issues, Tahir or Azamat. So we can collaborate and then ask anyone like if they can give me a chance on Tuesday or Wednesday.
So Kanybek, how long are you staying with us?
For another, I think, I don't know, maybe just 1 month. I don't. I think it's.
Right? Or
Was that?
until the end, because it's the third week of now. Next week is.
Oh yeah. Where are we gonna meet, Kushtar?
2 more weeks left. Yeah, 2 more weeks left.
2 more weeks left, and then I can show 1 week. Yeah, another testing, and then 1 week. Find out something else.
Yeah,
Maybe
because Azamat is only next week is his last week with us.
The same could be for me, but I don't know if there are more subjects. So CRUD operations, right? Using the Node.js. Did you cover them, like creating MongoDB database and then posting?
Azamat showed us once a long time ago, couple months ago, but we never practiced it. That would be
It's just a backend
again.
concept. I mean, if it's a backend concept, for you to understand how backend and frontend works, but it's not mandatory for frontend developers.
Yeah, would be nice to practice at least 1 or 2.
Yeah, let's do the next session sometimes next week or so, and then we will see. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the class.
Yeah,
Have a good day.
Also, I see it from the last week. So it says deployment. What is that about deployment?
Deployment is like how to deploy your application. The Netlify.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I think that's what you're already using. And then another deployment is Heroku, Amplify. Yeah, I'm on AWS Amplify, GitHub. These are the free cloud services you can deploy your application without purchasing any domain name, and then your app is running. Okay.
But there are so different kind of deployment tools, right? So which is used usually by the companies like.
Well, that's what DevOps engineers use. It's like more pipelines. It includes a lot of like test cases inside itself.
Yeah, how much the developers has to know about this?
Oh no, it's not your responsibility. I don't know either. Those like pipelines. It's a complete the DevOps ish.
Oh, you
DevOps
used
field.
to teach DevOps, right?
No.
Oh, no, not you. I mean, in general.
Yeah, CTEC used to have DevOps cohort as
Course.
well. Yeah. I know. Yes.
Oh, why is it closed?
I'm not sure if they are still like actively working on with students. I think Maybe they don't have students.
Maybe, yeah.
They're focusing more like software engineering.
So yeah, Kanybek, what about it? So Amazon